Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this week's trade breakdown, trade recap. This is the trade that I took today. So yeah, as you can see, it was indeed a W. This was more of a scalp trade, like a retracement trade essentially. And yeah, I'll break down my whole entire thought process and also how I used the tCISD, which wasn't there, was right here, to actually get the best entry possible. Okay, so let's hop out of replay mode for now, and let me give you guys my actual top-down analysis coming into today. Okay, so I was bearish coming into today personally, and as you can see, I actually ended up taking a long, but there is a reason behind that. So obviously the reason why I got the bearish bias for today was because of what we've already had during this week so far, right? So we already had a bearish weekly cycle, sequential SMT, between Monday and Tuesday. As you can see up here, we failed to take Monday's high within NQ. However, within YM, we did indeed end up taking out Monday's high, right? So because we took Monday's high within YM and not in NQ, we of course formed that bearish weekly cycle, sequential SMT. Also, mind the indicators, they are a little bit slow today. I think it's something on TradingView's end. And then, yeah, obviously you can see the candle that took the previous day high, in this case Monday's high for YM, was this one here at 5 a.m. So then that is now our 1 hour tCISD. As you can see, price trades into it beautifully. You know, doesn't take the high as well, so great stop loss on the high before giving that move lower. So this was all on Tuesday. So Tuesday to me was manipulation. Wednesday, I'm then looking at that distribution lower, most likely in line with the manipulation for the week. And that's why, you know, as you can see, Wednesday did indeed deliver to the downside. So now coming into Thursday, we can either expect one of two things, either a retracement or a continuation, okay? Or not, sorry, a retracement, reversal, or a continuation. So the reason why I got to the bearish idea today was because all assets had taken out the previous day low. So usually if you don't have a higher time frame crack and correlation, then most likely we'll just see a continuation, right? So as soon as I saw this, I'm like, okay, yeah, definitely bearish day. You know, we had the daily fair value gap below us as well, which we have now filled completely. And that's sort of why I took the long, which I'll explain shortly. But that's how I got to the daily bearish bias today. And if, you know, once I start my trading window, if we hadn't, you know, taken Wednesday's low, if we hadn't filled the gap completely, I still would have been looking for shorts. Now, the only reason why I looked for a long today and why I took the long today was, well, you guys know I start trading from 9 to 10:30 a.m., okay? We were super overextended. We had a bearish 1 hour gap here that hadn't been mitigated on all assets, which is now why we're trading back into it. Also, we had a 15-minute unmitigated gap, which was here, that also hadn't been mitigated. So because price was so overextended to the downside, I knew that price wanted to rebalance, right? We'd been going bearish for quite some time now. We'd already kind of hit like the main levels for the day, you know, filled the gap completely, taking the previous day low and whatnot. So now I knew that price needed to rebalance. So I marked out all the open unmitigated gaps that we had above us. So the 15-minute time frame, this was like the obvious 15-minute gap that we had. As you can see, you know, it was there on all assets as well. So it's not like we had like an SMT fill inside of it. So I knew that price wanted to at least rebalance this gap, potentially to the hourly one. So now I'm looking for any reason to get into a long down here on the lows, right? Obviously, I don't just enter a long just randomly. We actually had cracks and correlations form that told us that we need, you know, wanted to push higher. So obviously we hadn't had the daily cycle because all assets was below London's low, below previous day low. So we're super overextended, super in a discount. So the true session open is at 7:30 open. As you can see, I'll have to mark it out because the indicator is super slow today. It is on TradingView's end, unfortunately. You know, sometimes it does do this on TradingView, just super slow charts. The middle one's NQ, the left is ES, the one on the right is YM as well, by the way. So our true session opens here. Our true day open is midnight open all the way up there somewhere, right? So we're below the true day and the true session open. So we're below stacked opens. We then formed a bullish 90-minute sequential SMT. Let me whack this in replay mode here. We then formed a bullish 90-minute sequential SMT between Q2 and Q3. As you can see, NQ ran below Q2's low. Well, you can't see it because the quarters aren't there, but this was Q2's low. You can go back in your charts and check it out. Also, YM failed to run below Q2's low right there. And also within, you know, ES, we had a hidden 90-minute sequential SMT. Okay, we'd ran below the low, but we still had a form of crack and correlation between NQ and ES. So this to me was super clear. What do we do? Like, how do we get into this trade now? tCISD. Simple as that. Mark out the candle that created the sequential SMT. So this candle ran below this low, forming the sequential SMT. This is now our tCISD candle. Price then closes above it, as you can see, at 9.10. So then my entry is at 9.15, expecting this candle to open up low into the tCISD and then trade towards that unmitigated 15-minute gap, which, as you can see, price did perfectly, right? You could have TP'd here, you could have, broke even, maybe target the hourly gap, but I just got out completely as it was prior to like the 9:30 open. Satisfied with that 2 RR, cannot complain. And yeah, that is it. So 5-minute tCISD, mark this one out here with the text. Let me write down just so you guys can see it fully annotated. tCISD, boom. And also, not only that, we look at the minute time frame, we also had a microcycle sequential SMT, which occurred right here. So as you can see, this was also between ES and Q with hidden, and then it was there, with YM as well, just regular with wicks. So which candle create this microcycle? This one here, 909. So then that is our tCISD candle. Price closes above it, then trades back into it. And I could have entered like immediately here and got like a super sniper entry. Like, this didn't actually get stopped out with the stop on the low there. That would have been like 7 RR or something. But I waited for the 5-minute tCISD to get confirmed. And then, so then I was extra safe basically. Because it was a, pretty risky trade. It's a retracement trade, not in line with like where price wants to go. So once I was confirmed, 5-minute tCISD, 1-minute tCISD, now just wait for a retrace back into those. And then I just took my entry off the retrace. Boom, right there. Stop on the SMT low and then just target. I think it's like a 2 RR or something like that. I think this entry is a little bit better. And yeah, that is essentially the trade that I took today, guys. That's how I came to the bearish conclusion for the day, but still ended up taking it long because you need to be flexible. I do try to trade in line with the order flow when I can, but if I see that price has already, met the objective where it's wanted to go for the day, a retracement does make sense when you've got those unmitigated gaps above you, and that's the only time I sort of take a trade, away from the order flow. So yeah, with that being said, guys, something to look forward to as well on Sunday. I'm releasing the Quarterly Theory Bootcamp. The first episode is on Sunday. You guys will learn absolutely everything A to Z that you need to know about quarterly theory. So yeah, look forward to that. My premium group, mentorship, and both the indicators are linked below in the description, along with all of my social medias. So feel free to check those out. And with that being said, hopefully you guys found this useful, and I'll see you all on Sunday. Peace.